Welcome back. We're doing another wheel refurb video. I did one about a year ago, I think, on my VSKFs. There's not essentially full rebuild on the but damn close, so I'll put a link to that. You can go and have a look if you want. So we're doing a similar thing today on the wheels you just saw, which is my 14-inch SSR Mesh off the Accord. The car is still not gone for paint, but it is going in a couple of days time. We're at the start of July, so it's going in about 3 or 4 days. But in the meantime, I'm going to start looking into freshening these up. Now they're 14 by 6, I think it's plus 15, and 14 by 7 plus 10. That is a 2-inch lip on that, and 2 1/4 I think on that. But I think those ones are aftermarket, because you can see they have a seal on it, so they're probably not welded, probably just bolted and sealed. Whereas the front ones still have what I imagine is the original welds on it, so those lips were probably replaced at some point. Now the back wheels have a different production date stamped on the back than the front, so they're probably just a mismatched set. Not that it matters, but anyway, so I've had them for a couple of years. I never really did anything much with them, to tell you the truth, aside from put them on the car. Replaced a couple of bolts that were broken and stuff, but other than that, haven't done much of them with them. Bought them from a guy who had them on what we call it in Ireland, what people call a twin cam, what most people would call an A86, like the initial D Corollas. And they look cool on his. I always liked gold wheels, hence white gold being what we call the car. But so the next step is to pull out the faces. I'll wait till the car's back from paint, obviously, but use the car like a lathe. Put the wheel on, put the car in, obviously get the car up in the air, lock off the other wheel, run the car, and just, like you often see people doing a million times on YouTube, 400 grit sandpaper, 600, 800, 1000, blah blah blah, and go up and just try and get some kind of shine back into them. Those ones are okay, they're pretty shiny, but again, I haven't washed these in a couple of years. These are very, very dull, so even if I got them to an okay shine, I'd be happy enough. There is not crazy damage, but they're kind of rough along there on that one. That side's not so bad most of the way around. The fronts are, I won't say perfect, but they're not bad by any means, A couple of there's a gouge gone out of that one there. You can see it's probably from like a tire machine or something from the looks of it. But the plan with those is, and I'll stick a picture in here, to do something like that. As you might have seen and heard before, if you've watched a few of the videos, I freaking love lowriders. Absolutely love them, and you always see them with like crazy stuff engraved into them and things like that. So something like that, obviously not as crazy detailed as that, but something to that effect. I have kind of a design sort of ready to go, just to see how well it'll fit. Like, I've measured the wheel, and say, the entire distance around there is 4 feet. So I'm going to do I'll draw a design that's 6 inches and do it. So it'll be the one design that's 6 inches 8 times, if that makes sense. So it'll be repeated all around the wheel. What I think I'm going to do is, I have about 20 mil there, and I'll draw, I think I have about 5 mil there, so I might do a design between there and there, and just a bunch of dots or something like that. I haven't quite figured it out yet, as I said, but when I do figure it out, you'll see. So the idea is to do some really nice engraving in that, just for it to be something kind of different too. I debated just buying 4 new lips and putting them on the car, or on the wheels, but I think it'd be nice to do something different as well. I'll also probably have those gold faces either repowder coated or repainted or something. I might even ask the guy that's painting the car if he'll paint the faces if I bring them over to him. But the next step now is to clean them up, get all the shit like the old rubber and bead sealer and stuff like that off them. Double check the offset, but I think, as I said, I think it's 6 plus 10 or 6 plus 15 and 7 plus 10, and then probably strip the faces out of it, and we'll take it from there. So I just discovered something that I think proves my assumption that these wheels are 2 separate sets that were sold as a pair. I pulled out the valve stems, and you can see they're from the wider, they're from the 7s, they're from the 6s. Now they're the same height overall, but if you look at right here where it would go through the wheel, it's in a completely different spot over here. And I always prefer the look of these, the little kind of stubby ones. They don't stick out as much. I just realised that looks a little bit bent as well. I didn't spot that earlier. But anyway, yeah, and then that one, the one on the left there, it sticks out way too far, and I just think looks kind of goofy. So what I was gonna do was say find, you know, get them the right distance there, and then chop off the excess here on the one on the left, so it was the same height as that. But when I went to do it, like the rubbers are all fucked and squished, and you know, I mean, I could probably get them to seal up and all with a bit of tiger seal, or you know, a bit of silicone or something like that. But I think, especially having now just seen that that one's kind of bent, like I wonder is the other one kind of bent as well. No, looks okay anyway. But anyway, I just had a quick look on eBay. They sell the long ones and they sell the short ones. So they're fucking expensive for what they are. They're like $95 plus $40 shipping, like whatever that is, about 140 something quid. About the guts of 150 quid for 4 of those fucking things. But when realistically I kind of only need 2, so I might message them and ask them would they sell them just as a pair as opposed to all 4. But if not, like I've often said, I'm so far down the hole with this project that what's another few quid. So I think that'll be the next decision to make. They look so much better. Okay, so it's a few days later. I didn't get much more done that last day from the clip you've just seen, but first update is I found replacement valve stems. I ended up not going for the real deal SSR ones. They're just, for what they are, I know it's contradictory from a lot of stuff I've said before, but like for what they are, they're too expensive. I'm not going paying the guts of like 160, 170 euros for 4 valve stems. So especially not when I have 3 sets of SSR valve caps that'll make them look like the real thing, so I'll be faking it till I make it. What I did find was just generic ones. They're stainless, they're the exact same measurements. The eBay listing had them listed with the measurements, double checked it against my own, and they're the exact same. So as far as I'm concerned, they'll do perfectly well. So next thing that's been done, I split the wheels. You can see a lot better now why I would get them done anyway, but like you can see damage there, damage here. Got loads of spots of powder coat starting to lift, has just lifted right there. This one is the same, some damage here. Now to be fair, a lot of that damage is from when I was reassembling them the first time, like, you know, catching it with the rubber block or the hammer or whatever. You can see underseal overspray on that one. That one's not too bad. That one is okay. I thought there was a bit more damage on one of them, but I guess not. But they're out anyway. All the M8, they're those serrated nuts that you usually see on any kind of 3-piece wheel. I can't remember if I put all of those on when I put these back together or not, to be honest. But anyway, either way, they're fine. They'll clean up fine, a bit of Loctite and torque, and they'll be fine. The old hardware, again, like I said earlier, me thinking that these might be 2 different pairs sold as a set. A lot of these bolts were not like different, but you know, kind of different. Like say that one has a bit of a shoulder on it where it's not threaded. That one is threaded the whole way. That one has a washer. That one has a washer. That one doesn't. You know, it's kind of weird. Some of them are different. I should have actually taken note of which ones came from which wheel, but not that it matters. But anyway, so they'll all go, I guess, in the bin. And I got new hardware this morning. A place in town locally had it, and for anyone that's picky about it, you can see, so down there, 12.9 grade. They'll be absolutely fine. They're a zinc plated steel. I was hoping to get them in stainless so they wouldn't corrode and look shitty, but the guy, either they didn't have them in stock or I don't know, but he said he didn't have them in stainless. Normally stainless doesn't go rated that high as the 12.9 or whatever. The rating system is different or something, he said. I'm not sure, but either way, they will be absolutely fine. I had 1 or 2 of them in it before, and they didn't corrode or get too bad looking or anything like that, so I'm sure they'll be fine. So the next step is to box up these guys, send them up to Tala Powder Coating. They've done loads of powder coating for me before. I've never had any issues with them. There is a place in town I could send them locally, but every single time I've sent them something, I've had an issue, so I'll be avoiding them. The only thing I need to be very particular with about the guys in Tallaght, the last few times I sent stuff to get powder coated, I didn't tell them to mask anything. The whole, like, all in here came back coated, here was coated, whereas you can see on these, that was obviously masked when it was coated. So was this, the mounting pad, whatever you want to call it, there on all 4 wheels. So I get them to mask those and not powder coat in there, because that will just make it pretty difficult for reassembly again. You've already seen the wheels, or the lips and barrels, are in decent shape. There is a bit more damage on one of them than I thought, but again, to be honest, I don't feel like spending, you know, whatever amount on 4 new lips. Not at the moment, maybe someday down the line, but for now I'm not pushed. And then I did get tires arrived today. There's another set over there, and also something special for the wheels in that package. So I think that'll be it for now, and the next clip will probably be when I'm polishing up or engraving the lips on. Okay, that's the first pass done. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see it. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's quite hard to see. Oh, you can make it out properly, or pretty good there though. It's the first pass, so it's not bad. I had a design drawn, something I put together on the tablet for work and all that, and it just, I don't know, it was just too much going on in it. It was I kind of forgot one of my own rules, like that if there's too much going on in something, then it just looks cluttered, you know. So I simplified it and just kind of freehanded most of it, to tell you the truth. So pretty happy with that. I think it looks good. Obviously, you know, it's not perfect. It's a little bit shaky in a couple of places here and there. It's very hard to draw something on a curved surface like that, but, like, you know, it's fine. I'm pretty pleased with how it looks. I'm not sure how crazy I'm going to go with it. I'm going to do a bit of a kind of stippled background in it. You'll see that as I'm doing it. It's not that hard, to be honest. Decent enough process between drawing it on, cleaning the wheel, drawing it on, and doing it all, and then giving it a quick wipe again. An hour and a bit, maybe hour and something like that. You could probably do all 4 wheels probably in a weekend if you really wanted to. Like you could leave it just as it is there, like with just that design in it, but I'm going to kind of fill a little kind of like the background, for want of a better word, in between them. That should make those stand out a bit more, like what you would see on any kind of piece of engraving, really. So carry on to that, and that'll be your next clip. So I've got one finished. I decided to go a little bit more fancy with it. It's a little hard to make out, but you can see I've put, let's see, you can see it there, just kind of little flicks and swirls and stuff in some of the patterns, and you can see how the dots kind of break it up so you can really see the shapes, if that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to see, to be honest, because it's, oh yeah, you can really make it out there. So I think it looks pretty cool. I hope now that I've gone deep enough with the engraving, so as when I put them on the wheel, on the car, and polish them, that like the basically polishing it doesn't rub it back out. But the polishing is never going to go that deep, I would assume, never going to go that deep, but I guess I'll find out when I do it. And if they need to be just kind of touched up again, the details or whatever, it's not a big issue to do it. So that's one down. 3 more to go. So you've seen the two front ones there pretty much finished off, and I have one of the rears done as well. I'll give you a look. See, same kind of patterns, same idea the whole way around. Coming up pretty nice. Now on these wheels, they're wider. You can see that, well, you can't really make it out in the video, but they are wider, and it's a slightly different style lip that has a bit more, like it's narrower there, and on this it's wider. That's not as extreme there, that angle, that like that little lip there. So I was going to do a something in that kind of, there's about 10 mil there, I was going to do something there, but I don't know, I drew on a couple of things and I didn't really like it, so rather than leave it blank and do nothing with it, you know, leaving out kind of wasted space almost, I decided I'd do something there just around the where the valve will poke through. I think it looks pretty cool, so I was pleased with that. And then having done that, I went back and done kind of simplified version, if I can get the light on it there, kind of tough to see, on the front wheels as well, so that I might add maybe, you know, a couple of dots all the way around or something, I don't know, but I'm not too worried about it for now. But one more to do, and that's going to be it then. It'd be great if I could get them polished, but obviously I've no way of polishing them without putting them on the car, you know, and I don't have a lathe or anything like that, so I don't know, might see if there's a way I can kind of ghetto rig something, but I don't know, might be a bit too sketchy, but we'll see. We'll be back anyway when the next one is done. A little update on the wheels. The faces came back from powder coat today, this morning. They look really, really nice. Very, very nice. It's like, it looks really, really tidy. I wouldn't expect any less, really. I can't remember exactly what the original colour was, but or the old colour, but it's damn close. But that kind of nice gold, because I had specified, I put a note in the box saying as close to the original or that old colour as possible, and looks good enough to me. It'd be nice with the steel, the stainless, or the new bolts, the centre caps. I'll get new wheel nuts, and of course all the engraving on the lips. The only thing that's a bit annoying, as I'd mentioned earlier, I had asked them to mask off the mounting face there and where it mounts to the lip. The only thing is, I guess they've probably been done for a while. Like you'll see in a time lapse in a minute. It doesn't look like a lot of work, but it took forever to get all that masking off. Like it literally took about 25 minutes. I guess it's because, like, ideally if you've masked something, you would take off the masking while it's wet, or whatever, like the wet paint equivalent of powder coat is. So I guess maybe that wasn't done. Maybe because they told me about 2 weeks ago that they'd be done in a couple of days. So for all I know, they're sitting in a box with the masking on them and just getting stickier and stickier. So there's quite a, like, even my fingers are sticking together. That stuff is so sticky. But also it's been crazy hot here the last maybe week, maybe 7 or 8 days. So they could just been baking in a box, and it's really sticky, but it's coming off. It's just, I think maybe when I might mount them on the car before I put the lips on, and just give that surface there very, very light rub with a bit of sandpaper or something. But it's not a big deal, just a bit of a pain in the ass. Like, it's all coming off in shitty little bits like that, you know, as opposed to pulling off in strips. But not such a big problem. We'll keep going, get the rest of those masked off, and then mounted into the barrels. Okay, it's been quite a while since the last clip you've seen of me polishing them, and even further since the clip before that of engraving. It's taken a couple of months just with timing of a whole bunch of stuff and waiting on parts and waiting on this, that and the other, you know, but they're finished. So let's take a look. Here we go. My white walls are what I had mentioned earlier in the video was in the package. Now they are a fake white wall, they're not a real thing, they just sit over the lip of the wheel, like kind of in between the tyre and the lip. They just pop in the bead, but they look pretty good. I like them. They're not a completely perfect flush fit, but I mean, you know, from 2 or 3 foot away I don't think you'd even notice. I really like the look of them in general. I have a nice skinny tyre for that kind of lowrider style, and also to help me clear the arches when the air suspension goes in. As you would have seen, the real thing SSR valve caps. They look like the real thing, but they're not the real thing center caps. I bought those from I think it was Russia. Yeah, it was Russia. Just before, or just as all the COVID stuff started, and I thought these will never arrive, but they arrived and they're perfect. They're really, really good. Very good reproduction. Sticker's nice. But yeah, I think the original center cap is a little bit short from that, but that's beside the point. So the next thing to do is offer them up onto the car and see how they look. Now, unfortunately, it's a really crap day outside, so unfortunately no, I'm not going to get to offer them up onto the car, but you'll see them again in further videos. But for now, I think that's them done. I'm really, really pleased with how they came out. The combination of it all I think looks really nice. I know it's kind of hard to see the engraving, the light isn't great here now, it's an awful lot better in the sunshine, but you get the idea. Center caps look really good, the real deal. Valve caps are nice. I think the tyre size and stuff, I like that kind of somewhere between, I know a lot of times you see Japanese cars with small wheels but really wide wheels, and then you see lowriders with like 13.7s or something like that on it. So, but I think these are the perfect kind of combination of the two. As I just said, you often see lowriders with Daytons or true spokes or something like that, and it's most of the time they're 13s, maybe a 14, usually by 7. And I think they're obviously being a wire wheel, they're essentially a zero offset wheel. So I've seen people put them on all kinds of cars before, but and on CB Accords in particular, and they look stupid because they stick out 2 or 3 inches past the body, and it just wouldn't be for me. So these I think are the kind of perfect combination of a Dayton kind of slash true spoke kind of wire wheel, because obviously, you know, they kind of look like, you know, individual spokes or whatever, and a JDM wheel. So real deal SSR mesh, kind of styled in a lowrider slash Dayton kind of look, I guess. But yeah, so that's it. Custom engraved SSR mesh for the CB. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon to show you them what they really look like on the car.